you.
Tell us the journey of your life in under 10 minutes.
Thank you. That's what I was anticipating. I
Yes.
hope I will take 10 minutes or less. And let me say that I'm a Kenyan, and I come from Kandara constituency in Muranga. Actually, in Muranga, we actually talk about location. I come from location 3 in Muranga. And I went to school in one of the primary schools, Keguya Primary School, and I finished in 1973, joined Form 1, was admitted to Form 1. Those are the days that you needed to be admitted. So I went to another school, a newly aided school in Muranga, in Gatuli location, Kiabugi Secondary School. That was in 1974 to 1977. I had a first-class division that allowed me to be admitted to Kagumo High School, perhaps the school of my dreams. That was in 1978. I finished Form 6 in 1979. And in 1980, I came to Nairobi. I came to Nairobi because that was the only university in Kenya then. That is when I joined the University of Nairobi, and I was admitted to study Bachelor of Arts. I had a dream to study economics, so I was in Bachelor of Arts. You have to do 3 courses, and in the second year you start specializing on the basis of performance. So I became what we used to call then 311 economics, and so I ended up graduating in 1984. We are the group that was affected by 1982 coup, so it means that we took longer than the normal 3-year degree.
You lost 1 year.
We lost slightly more than 1 year, but it is 1 year in terms of calendar. Thank you, Chair. And in 1984, I graduated in Bachelor of Arts in majoring in economics. In the same year, I was admitted to actually pursue postgraduate economics, postgraduate degree in Masters in Economics, which I finished in 1986. From 1986, it was actually more of research work, and in 1987, I was employed at the University of Nairobi as a tutorial fellow. That's the lowest rank in terms of the teaching fraternity. But the tutorial fellow, you are employed on contract on the basis that you are going to pursue higher education, that is a PhD. So I did that for 2 years, from 1987 to 1989, and I got a scholarship to study economics at PhD level at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, funded by Swedish International Development Association, that is SIDA, and that was on the contract that we should study economics within 4 years. Usually economics, PhD in economics takes about 5 years, 2 years of coursework and 3 years of research. But we had a covenant to finish in 4 years. Of course, it was difficult, but I managed to finish in 4 years and 3 months. So I came back to Kenya in 1993, towards the end of 1993, to start teaching again in 1994. I was promoted in 1995 to become a lecturer. In 1997, I was promoted to become a senior lecturer, and in 2001, I became perhaps the youngest professor ever. I became an associate professor in 2001. That is the journey in terms of my academia. I've continued to be a researcher, and all my areas of research has been quite macroeconomics. I've trained so many economists in Africa. But then, in 1999, let me take a small step back. I was recruited to go and help support the establishment of KIPRA. KIPRA is a national think tank. It's a Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. And I was there for 2 years. I was responsible for developing the first Kenya macro model. And I did develop the Kenya macro model by 2001. It was hosted in the Treasury. After that, I continued with my international assignment. I was employed in 2002 by International Development Research Center of Canada. And again, I became the program specialist in East and Southern Africa. In 2003, I joined the African Economic Research Consortium, a network that actually builds capacity for economists in Africa. and even graduate training. I became director of training. And it was there that I was recruited and appointed governor of the central bank in 2007. And I continued and served for 8 years. In fact, chairman, I became the first governor to serve 8 years since the law was established, 2 terms, since the law was established in 1982. So, for me, it was a chance in terms of not only of research, but intellectual leadership, but also policy leadership. After that, after the tour of duty, I decided that I needed to take a break. I went to Oxford University for 1 year in terms of Bravatnik School of Government to talk more about public policy making. Then in there, I was also a senior advisor to several organizations, especially the United Nations Capital Development Fund and even Alliance for Better Than Cash Alliance. And again, in 2019, I was getting back and more back into research and more into intellectual work. I was headhunted for African Economic Research Consortium, and I became the executive director. We support public universities in Africa to mount quality degree programs in economics. We have trained economists for the Ministry of Finance for many years, for the last 11 years. We have supported students in this area for many years, but we also provide frontier research in various topical policy issues. Maybe I'll have a chance to talk about some of them. That's where I am, and let me also mention that in the central bank, I remember I worked on 2 very prominent areas. One of them is to reformulate the monetary policy framework for Kenya. I do believe that the framework that I found there, I actually described it as an obsolete framework. And the second thing is that I pushed and defended M-Pesa until the fights with the banks, until it was concluded, and everybody believed that it was a very, very innovative product. Today, the world knows Kenya because of M-Pesa, and all other products that have come in that improved the retail electronic payment system and platforms in banks is one of the examples. I stop there, Mr. Chairman, because the history can be long, but let me say I am that young boy who started in Location 3 in Gasharage in Kandara, and I'm now sitting here. Thank you very much.